Hello, everybody. Today we're talking with Damien Yee from CXS International. He's the CLO and has a lot of experience when it comes down to data, insights, and how to learn this and how to teach this. And this is exactly what this company does. They're helping young talents to be more aware of all the data around them and how to focus on it and how to get those insights. Also, Damien will share in this interview some really good advice for people who are looking for new jobs. So if you want to learn more, check out this interview with Damien. Welcome, Damien. Really good to have you on this DataDumDum interview. One of the first, which is really, really cool. We're talking with a lot of thought leaders in data and in their own expertise in their own industry. And today we invited you from CXS International, talking about what your company does and how you are involved as a CLO there. So, Damien, can you please tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
My name is Damien. I'm a Singaporean. Don't take that against me. And I'm actually living in Malaysia right now. And CXS International is a company that is attempting to help education connect with employability. I think that one of the fundamental problems we have with our time is education keeping in pace with what industry requires. Are the things that we do still relevant? Are the learnings that we are going through enough, not just for work, but for us to be purposeful people? And what we want to do is we want to kind of solve that by providing data, actionable insights to everyday men, everyday people that is looking for meaning, looking for a job, looking for the next career change. And we want to empower that. We want to empower that personal transformation. In fact, one of our products, we name it Actualize, because we want to help people have that level of mastery to actually take care of themselves.
So how do you guys look at, for example, traditional schools? I mean, technology is so fast, it's growing so rapidly, it's evolving like crazy, to be honest. How does this compare to like your company? How do you keep up with all this technology and like exploiting that into education?
Well, we are not a school. And what we want to do is we want to enhance and empower schools to make better decisions. In Norway, we are actually the national platform. And what we provide, interestingly, is for the last 15, 17 years, the schools have been doing surveys, and the surveys are a set of data. And over time, with the length and breadth of data that you have, and now it's almost a mandatory kind of climate survey for the schools, you are able to start to look at diagnostics. What happens, change in policy, what's the corresponding change in self-efficacy in the kids, what is the corresponding change in the competence level. You can even start to look at how the cohorts have evolved over time. You can even look at socio-economic factors, whether a rising middle class have affected the grades, whether that has affected resources and how it's being used. And that helps policymakers, but it also helps teachers. If you understand that your class has an order or subject mastery issue, how do you start to move the needle a little bit closer to where you want it to be? How does a school even decide that 40 students to a teacher is the optimum size? All this is data. How do you put it together in a way that allows a teacher or a school leader or a minister to say, we tried that the last time, we had the data, it makes sense, let's carry on, let's fix something else, right? So that's just what we do in the space of education. But we also realize that at some point, you have to start looking at beyond education. How do you help the kid figure out that an engineering job is going to be fundamentally different the time that it takes him to get his degree done? That he's a mechanical engineer. By the time he steps out, he's an IoT engineer. Is it a completely different thing? Probably not. But will he feel dislocated? Maybe. Right? So how do you help them kind of connect the dots? How do you know what is useful, what's not? How do you stay current on what's happening? And school needs that conversation. Conversation with not just the industry, but the conversation with the government, the conversation with their own students. How do you know that I'm Asian? And I think the running joke, if you're in Taiwan, you can ask any of these guys, growing up, what are your career choices? It's like doctor, lawyers, accountant,
Yeah.
or family disgrace. There's no other options.
Family disgrace. Yeah, yeah, it's kind of true. I mean, like, it's kind of true. Like, if you, I'm following an MBA. I'm taking an MBA here in Taipei. And I meet a lot of students here as well. And you see they are struggling. I see the same. They sign up for what you say is true. Like, they sign up for engineering, but they don't really know what they're going to engineer 4 years
Yeah.
or 6 years from now. Technology is growing and evolving so fast and so rapid that it's just hard to keep up. And I think like having data analysis or insights or even finding the perfect teachers or the perfect candidates or the perfect jobs for specific people can definitely help and have big impact on getting these people at the right places and exploiting their talent actually. It's very interesting.
Interestingly, this weekend, it will be our sixth run for a local job fair.
Hmm.
So what we have done for this job fair operator is, first thing we said that look, CVs and making everyone fill out their CV like 5 times in the fair doesn't help with the way the conversation should be taking place.
Hmm.
So the first time we start, we said, look, we have a personality uh, profiling tool that is for self-reflection. We can put it there. People can do it. We can collect the data point, and they can put their CVs, and we can start to look at further down line. This is like 3 years ago, how we can help them understand which career choices they can make. They say, this group of people, they're not ready to use data.
Yeah.
By the end of the first 2 days, we have, I think, 16,000 digital profiles.
Wow.
There are people that came to the fair, heard about it, went back home, filled up the profile, and came back the next time and say, okay, I've done it. What does this mean? By the second or third fair, we realized we were setting up a technical booth to kind of ensure the system works.
Yeah.
We ended up with our job specialists, our counselors, playing the role of job counselors on the floor. All three of us lost our voices because people were dragging their parents to the booth going, can you please tell my mother what this thing is saying so that I don't have to take this course?
Sweet. That is phenomenal.
Yeah. And
That's
this is
nice.
not even our actual offering. It's just
Wow.
part of the data collecting process. But you
Really.
can see the impact on the ground, actionable insights, what people can use for a conversation that is important for themselves.
Yeah.
In the sixth run, we realize now the companies are looking at those profiles and go, how do I engage this candidate? Instead of looking at his CV now, I want to know what drives him, what is he interested in.
Yeah.
How do I fit him into the team? The conversation has changed from, are you from a good university? Is this a legit degree? To, are you the right fit for my organization? And I
Yeah.
think that's an interesting conversation.
Yeah. So what do you guys like make of this? Like what do you guys get from this data? What are the most important things? Like if people are watching this like and they are looking for a new job for example, like what is important? What did you make of this? Like all these insights you gathered.
Right? Or to put it in a very simplified form, if we're going to choose and bet on a career, and all we have to make decisions on is just based on what we hear from our friends, what we see with our eyes, we're going to be in a lot of trouble because we don't know what's coming.
Hmm.
AI, robotics, things are going to change. I'm not a doomsayer. I'm not going to say that all the jobs are going to be lost, but new jobs are going to happen.
Yeah.
And we need to know how do we go from being a data entry clerk in the 80s to now being IoT or data scientist. We are getting higher order jobs
Yeah.
and we're getting more intellectual jobs. And that's good for humanity. But how do we help those people get there? Because they've betted on a 16-year education is may not be bringing them there. So what we want to do was, uh, if today you're watching TV, right? You're watching,
Hmm.
you don't even watch TV anymore. You watch programs on Netflix.
Yeah.
People don't, my time, you probably wait once a week to watch X-Files. And then you
True.
forgot what was happening in the last episode, right? Everyone binge watches now. Wait for the thing to end, go watch the spoilers, you watch it one time, and then you go into Reddit and you look at all the things. People pick up the plot post.
True.
That is learning. That is a brand new style of learning. We are binge learning. Are we learning the right stuff? No, because no one has kind of connected the dots to say, if you learn that, You know, that is data processing. You know, gathering data sources from different places to say that
100%.
yes, now I know why that scene meant so much in the Marvel Cinematic scene.
Yeah.
We have new skill sets. We are just not exploiting it for work.
Just for ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So,
So
but looking into
yeah,
the work industry, like looking at jobs, like how do you see that towards the future? You said like AI, robotics, like everybody's talking about this, and so how do you see that with all this information you guys gathered from these job fairs, but also from other data research you guys did?
well, I think from a broad perspective, we see that the, the scope of work is changing. The skill sets required for certain jobs are changing.
Hmm.
One of the few things that our research conference we are looking at is that in the past, job churn is very high. So you have one whole group of people migrating to another industry.
Hmm.
Now the job churn is actually very low, because what is happening is that within the industry, the jobs have changed its scope. So
Yeah.
you are, in the past, you're migrating because of the wages, but now you realize that even if you stay in the industry, what you are doing may not be the same. So a nurse now and a nurse 5 years from now will require different skill sets. She may be required to use an iPad. She may be required to work with the machinery or the algorithm to diagnose that this
Hmm.
person has diabetes, or there are certain things that's fleshed out, uh, and I need to piece it together. She may even be the quarterback, because she's getting the X-ray guys in, getting the urine sample guys in, managing the experience of the patient.
Hmm.
So that job is going to evolve, and we have to look at the future employment in that respect. That the scope of work or what creates value for your work is going to shift, and it requires certain kind of skill sets, and you need to understand data, or you need to understand uh, how to computational skill sets, or skill sets on how to manage the time.
Yeah. Do you
Right.
think
So
jobs will? Do you think the
go
jobs will
ahead.
get easier along the way using all this technology? Like having, like what you said is like it's funny you say it, like having technology help us, pushing it forward. Does it make
Yeah,
work easier as well?
I think it should, but it will probably also make work more complex. And if we think that working with other people is a pain in the ass, then it's going to be a lot more complicated when you have to sieve through the AI and the data, and then try to explain it to another human. So,
Yeah.
well, you need a brand new set of skill sets. But it's
So
exciting times.
I think it's good for you guys. I mean, like you have to teach people how to do it, how to use it, how to work with an AI, for example, or a different piece of robotics. I mean, you need to be able to teach someone else. So you learn to teach, which is a fun skill, I think, and maybe very important towards the future as well.
Yeah. So I think we don't really teach people per se, but what we want to do is connect the dots for the people that are actually doing the teaching, the people
Hmm.
that are doing the learning, the industry that needs the transformation. What we're trying to do is connect the education arena with the enterprise and their demands, with the policies of the government, and say, if you're going to train uh, 20 guys in aerospace, does it make sense to spend $20 million to train 20 guys? Or how do we scale it so that the whole industry can pivot in a shorter time, rather than traditionally building up linearly, that now you have 10,000 uh, professional accountants, for example. Maybe there's a new exponential way of doing it. I lectured a little bit in the EMBA course in Singapore, and I told them a traditional MBA requires this kind of thing. But
Yeah.
maybe moving forward, if you look at the endpoint, which is what the MBA is supposed to provide you, the curriculum can be completely changed. You could be using your smartphone, even assignment, doing deep cover in the organization, doing research, coming back with the things that say you get your MBA because we have managed to provide this outcome,
Yeah.
rather than attending 20 modules, for example. Maybe you just attend the 3 modules that you need, because I map out your competence, your life experience, set of skill sets.
Yeah.
So not all candidates start from the same point. Maybe you have already 20 of those core competence, you only need a 3 So why shouldn't you get your MBA in 3 months?
You should be able to do that, I think.
Yeah.
In some cases. I mean, like, this is again like technology helping life, or helping, well, in this case also education. I mean, it's not only about like having technology or like traditional way of learning. I mean, if you can do it faster, why not do it faster? If data can help you, if
Exactly.
automation can help you, why not? But
Yes.
again, I think that the schools and government are, in a lot of cases, the bottleneck here, that they will say, nah, this is a 2-year program. It costs you 2 years, not 3 months.
That's that's probably because there's no universal or international standards for qualifying those competence, and everybody has to do their own testing. And also because school is also a business.
Of course.
So if you are tagged to the number of courses, to the course fee, then that's one way of charging it. But if you're tagged to competence and then you pay your school if you acquire the competence, it's a different business model altogether.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, in the end, it's about money, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, fun thing. So
But I'm
if you
sure you
look at,
I'm sure you're doing your MBA in Taiwan for that experience, and that's
it's a
another benefit.
combination. I mean,
Yeah.
like being here, having, I don't know, if I look at my classmates, they're from all the continents in the world. It's
Yeah.
phenomenal to see this multicultural experience, having people from Vietnam talking with people from the US, like the way they do business or they look at companies and what they prioritize is completely different, and it's hilarious to see, and you see and learn so much from that experience. I think that's the most valuable thing I'm learning here, and I really enjoy
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And the storytelling is important. Imagine you're on a business trip after your MBA, you met someone, and she is working in Foxconn, and you're like, hey, you're going to Taiwan. I had this really good beef noodle in this store when I was there. You make a friend, you make a connection, and that's it. So one of
Yeah,
the
it
things
works
we're
like
looking
that. It's
for,
true.
yeah,
For
one
here,
of the
it's
things we're
always
looking
about
for,
the food.
how do we create the experience for people? How do we create the storytelling for people? How do we uplift them so that
Yeah.
they feel that there's a positivity, that they can do more? And I've seen the data that we collect from different communities, the self-efficacy or their outlook on the future is moving downwards. It's
Mm.
moving downwards because they're consuming uh, news or content from social media is going downwards because of how they perceive the future and what they can uh, possibly do. And I think that's terrible.
Yeah.
If we give them the right information, we give them the right help, it should be the other way around because there's more opportunities now. Someone like you, 30 years ago, what are the odds of you being in Taiwan if you are your dad's generation?
0%, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
that's my
Definitely
point. I
true.
think we are in a better intellectual uh, era now than
Yeah.
ever before. But maybe we're just consuming the wrong things, and we don't have the data points to tell us there are other directions we can go.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the world's getting much, much smaller, like every single day, like having planes flying even faster,
Yeah,
cheaper, like to any destination in the world. We are doing this interview on Skype. Well, imagine 30 years ago, this was not possible. And now we
yeah.
set it up, we call, boom, you have a great connection and you can see each other, you can talk. It's perfect.
There's this really famous social media guy called Nas Daily. He does the I'm not sure whether you heard of him. He has a lot of followers, and he goes around creating uplifting message. So I forward some of his things on Facebook. The
Mm.
next thing I know, he was in Singapore, and all he did was shout out to his followers in Singapore and say, "I'm here. What should I see? What should I do?" The next thing that I know, he is having an interview with one of my friends, and it appears there as, oh, we just talked
Wow.
about toilet bowls and what toilet bowls can do for the world. It's so random.
Sweet.
That's the new world order. Yeah, that's the new
Yeah,
world order.
nice. Yeah, but this is phenomenal. I mean, like how we connect, like everybody is connected in so many ways nowadays. And it's easy to connect with other people as well, which is hilarious. Like that we are connecting through Atasha in this case is also amazing. I mean, like
Exactly.
it's set up like we email twice and boom, you have a cool interview going, which is really, really cool.
Yep.
Nice. Last thing, last question before we finish off. Any final advice? Like you've been working in this like learning learning industry, the teaching industry, connect that with a lot of data, a lot of insights you guys gathered. Any final advice you want to give to the audience?
Uh, don't worry about how much data you have. Think about what you can do with the data and make sure that the lenses that you look through the data is not from a singular point of view. I think that is important because it's like statistics of the good old days, right? It's what you tell with the numbers. And as a process in our company, you always have to validate and check back that those things that you assume is correct because things will shift. And I keep telling the team, statistics that you have 15 years ago shouldn't be held as the gospel truth because the ground has shifted as well. So always be aware that your data is only as good as what you collected, know when you collect them, and always check that they're still valid.